Oh yeah, baby. We talking about Bleach today. Bleach is a great show with a lot of different characters. But Bleach is what it does the most well out of all the aspects of the show, out of plot, out of character motives. It does one thing above and beyond anything. Kubo loves to make characters. He loves to write characters. His power system, shaky. His world building, iffy. But his characters, amazing. He does characters better than so many other mangaka. And he focuses on characters in a really good way. He does characters so well. However, he puts too many characters into his story. To just start giving you an idea of how many characters, these are just groups of characters. So Ichigo has like about 8 to 9 classmates. There's 13 court guard captains that get swapped in and out. There's the lieutenants, which have even more members of. There's the visors. And these are all just the canon, quote unquote, good guys in the series. Then there's the Espada. There's the Prevrion Espada. Then there's the Fullbringers. There are so many characters, and all of these are just ones that are canon in the anime. Um, it, but there's also the Quincy's in the final arc. There's also the vampire guys in that filler arc. Oh my god, why can't I remember it? Yeah, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But there's about what 6 more characters in that, and they're all elaborated on. There's the Zanpakutos and the Zanpakuto filler arc. There's so many more characters. In fact, there are characters that don't fit in any of these groups that are still in the story and are still elaborated on as completely main characters. So if you have a show where you have fucking 20 good guys with another 20 villain characters all clashing together, and then you focus on every single fight that happens on the arc for at least a half episode, it will take hours and hours and hours to get through arc to arc, which is what we see in Bleach. Soul Society arc is about 60 episodes. Fate Katakura Town, even more. The time that they spend in Wako Mundo is probably one of the shortest arcs because it has some of the fewest amount of characters. Now, all the characters are good, and all these fights are amazing, and they're all fleshed out, and they're all fighting for their own reasons, and they're all trying to prove something to their adversaries and to themselves, and they're trying to push past what holds them back. It's all good writing. However, you could make 2 completely well fleshed out shows if you just split the characters into 2 different shows. Now, it seems a little bit cheap, and it probably wouldn't work as well as what Kubo has done in Bleach, but I feel like it would alleviate the amount of time that the rewatch goes through. Watching Bleach for a first time is an amazing experience, but going back and rewatching it, some parts just feel drastically slow because seeing what's it called the lieutenants fight on the pillars in Fate Katakura Town arc, while these random Espada try to attack them, is the dullest thing on the planet. But having all those moments did mean something when you're watching it the first time, and they are good fights. But it just drags out the arc even longer than it has to be. Those fights don't need to be elaborated on. Now, one show that does do well written characters, but it doesn't flesh them out to this extent, and I feel like it's for the benefit of this series, is a show called World Trigger, second season airing this season. And it has about nowhere near as many episodes as Bleach. Right now, I believe the first season was 73 episodes, and it has 2 episodes out so far, so that's 75 in total. So in 75 episodes, which is a little bit longer than the original Soul Society arc, it has had so many smaller arcs. How many characters does it have? Is it just these four? No, it is much, much more. It introduces many different squads of characters who you all learn a little bit about. And it's not like the squads in Bleach where you just learn that, oh, Kenpachi squad likes to use like attack based Zanpakuto, or Squad 4 is the healing core. No, you learn every member of the squad. Granted, there's only 3 to 5 members roughly on average per squad, but it makes each squad feel more alive and more unique compared to the others. With unique personalities, unique fighting styles, unique ways of dealing with opponents. And the way World Trigger gets away with this is on screen right now. This is only about 4 or 5 squads at most. You get introduced to about 20 of these. 20. Roughly. This is an estimate. At minimum. And the reason why they make them how they feel alive and still connected into this world, and how they make them characters you still care about, is typically in the arcs where the different squads are batting up against each other. You have time to have the main characters focusing on 1, 2, 3 other squads and learn about those 3 in a mini arc. And then in a big arc where all the squads have to come together and fight against a larger opponent, typically there's only about 4 or 5 members of that larger opponent and a bunch of smaller fodder enemies. So the only times that the other units are shown fighting those smaller enemies are showing them how they are taking care of them for maybe a scene or two, going quickly back and forth in between them and showing how they're working as a team and showing how they're interacting. So you know they're in the fight doing something, but you don't need to watch them have a full-blown fight with random off-screen enemy number 4. And even if they do fight one of these higher up ranked enemies, you don't see them fight the entire fight. You see them fight most of it until they have to retreat, or the enemy retreats, or the enemy gets away to go have another battle. None of the fights, all of the fights have an end objective. It's not, oh, I need to defeat the other person because I need to defeat them. It's, there is something here I need to destroy. These people are standing in my way. We're going to butt against each other, and I'm going to try to maneuver past them or take them out to prove my strength in order to get to the objective. Everything is based a lot more on strategy and team composition than it is about the individual characters just putting their willpowers against each other. It's not as character focused as Bleach, but because it takes this more off-screen approach by developing the characters' personalities so you like them, instead of developing their entire personalities, which you can save for a smaller arc more dedicated towards their characters, you can focus more on our main characters. Now, Bleach's characters are probably more well written, but you spend a lot more time focusing on them. Half, 3/4 of the characters in Bleach could be main characters in their own right. Like, I would watch a story dedicated to pretty much every single one of the captains. They're all brilliantly written. But this is a story about Ichigo. I don't want to spend 2 episodes focusing on what the lieutenants are doing when I know none of it's going to matter because Ichigo's going to end up fighting the final boss one way or another. And the main characters aren't even in most of the fights because they're not the highest ranked in Border, which is the place these guys all work for. You mainly focus on the stronger ones and what the main characters are doing to get it closer to that level. And it focuses on the characters in the groups of characters interacting with each other. So most of the fights aren't even one-on-one. So you can focus on more characters at a time and what each battle means to these groups of characters, giving them similar ideologies and philosophies. But yeah, Bleach's biggest strength is its characters. However, its biggest weakness is how well written their characters are. Because they're so well written, you want to focus on them more. Now, this isn't just a problem with Bleach, many other shows have this problem, but it's most blatant in Bleach because of how long the arc stretched with so many characters butting against each other. And it's written in a very good way, in a very well written way, but on a rewatch for a rereading, gosh, some parts are slow. Rewatching World Trigger, it's very fast and it gives you information about characters very quickly. Characters, when they're on screen, they have about a minute to make an impression on you, and they use that minute effectively. They put their personalities on full display, unless this is an arc around that character and pushing them forward, or that stronger character pushing the main character forward. It is World Trigger compared to Bleach, it does its power system. It focuses a lot more on its power system and the strategies and the world building than it does focusing on the characters. It balances out instead of raising characters and lowering everything else in the story. Do I think World Trigger is more well written than Bleach? I don't know yet. It's still going on, and I would have to wait to see how the story progresses. There's a lot more Bleach to consume than World Trigger at this point, and I've only watched the anime for both, and I look forward to seeing how Bleach's final season gets animated, and I look forward to seeing how much they're going to animate of World Trigger Season 2. These are two shows I highly recommend checking out, and I think that's about it for this episode. So if you guys want to like, that'd be great. If you want to subscribe to see more content like this, that'd be fantastic. And if you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. I'll see y'all in the next episode.